Welcome everyone to episode 7 of Rainy Day Let's Play. I'm Solon and this is Just Cause 2. Looks to be a rainy day, perfect elements for doing an awesome Let's Play. Upside, I just learned that I have latent superhero abilities, in that I've finally figured out how to kind of Spider-Man swing my way using the grappling hook and the parachute in tandem, where if you grapple onto buildings while you're soaring over them, it'll kind of accelerate you, but it won't bring you towards the building. It'll just make you move faster, and sometimes in an upward direction. And so it's perfect for, like, kind of strolling around town in a much more cohesive and elevated way than if I were to take a car or a bike or something. And it's really fucking fast, too. So, super win. Also, we've got one new mission that we're doing over here. We've just unlocked like 8.5 million missions, so alright, I was hoping to gargoyle on that and didn't quite pan out right. There'll be plenty of superhero gargoyling on the ledges of buildings later. So right now we gotta go find our next mission, which will be kind of a really silly little find all the bombs and defuse them with a minigame. And they're all around the city. So we're trying to go there. The red or the blue one. So this is a mission for the Roaches, who are the nice suits and ties, mobster, organized crime people. In the meantime, I've got actually a lot that I want to talk about, because the game's ended up being really inspiring for me, and I wanted to kind of share my thoughts with what I've been thinking about. So, for the last 2 hours, we've established connection with 3 groups of so-called revolutionaries: the Roaches, the Reapers, and the Ular Boys. This is pretty standard, something pretty standard to swing between 3 different factions in a large open-world game like this. However, we have something special in Just Cause 2. I've never seen a game of this scale so blithely portray their factions as identical to one another. As we saw in the previous few episodes, the first mission of each faction was identical to one another. Open a door, fish out a nest of bad guys behind a turret, helicopter flies overhead, escort the scientist. All 3 of them were totally the same. The only difference is that what the teams represent.
I live under the fear of one terrible disease: poverty.
No, you don't.
The government agents are again trying to ruin me by sabotaging our drug refineries in the city. If these places are destroyed, dope fiends would buy their junk elsewhere, and it would lose us a great deal of business. You must stop the sabotage by disarming all their bombs, and thus keep me from catching that terrible disease.
Well, glitchy hiccup aside, what a terrible, pompous, and classist asshole. I hope he dies first. He's just a douche.
Stay alert. They're sure to have somebody guarding each bomb.
Oh, thanks, Captain Obvious, everyone. So, the only difference between all 3 of these teams is that Blue Team is supposed to represent Team Organized Crime, and Red Team represents Team Militarized Lower Class Coup, and then Team Yellow represents the ultra-nationalist Kill the Oppressive Red, White, and Blue. They're my personal favorite. So, what does this tell us? Well, by the dynamics of the system, we open up a theme of these revolutionary factions all being identical to one another. Maybe what the game is saying is that all revolutions are the same, and even more so, to take it a step further, that they're all doomed to fail for being primarily capitalist in intention, and thus not revolutionary at all. This would be like a really amazing statement for a game to make, because that doesn't happen often. Now, if this is a stretch or seems like it's kind of grasping at straws, that might be because the makers of the game aren't actually trying to say anything with Just Cause 2. The game is saying this on its own. The game is screaming it. If we'd only listen. So Avalanche Studios isn't making a game for politics or emotional connection. It's making a game specifically for technological innovation. We have this 30-kilometer wide open world that you can seamlessly travel in between. And that's what we're going to be doing after this mission. And we can explore the entire island as a backdrop to a gigantic playground where everything can be destroyed. Avalanche Studios is a game engine developer, and so everything in the narrative and most of the game's systems are either completely stereotypical or they're taken wholesale from other games. And why not? They're a game engine company. Why? It doesn't really matter much to them outside of technological innovation.
Fire! Fire!
Stereotypes and copy pastas are extraordinarily clunky to use when you design a work, which is why a good work in any medium uses inspiration but does not just straight out cut and paste. Because when you do that, your work comes with these heavy strings attached, like sexism or, in this case, racist and classist overtones. When you copy and paste the mechanics of Spider-Man 2, put in a generic faction system, and then set your Destructo Island in the tropics of Indonesia, you have a very specific recipe that is entirely out of your control as the designer of the game. So, basically, this makes Just Cause 2 an amazing and beautiful case study for finding meanings in a game that the designer didn't intend. Playing through this, we can find meaning that the game itself is projecting as we connect to emotions and immersions within the game. It will actually be the game itself speaking them to us, not anyone behind it, and definitely not Avalanche. And personally, I think that's a really kind of beautiful sentiment, that a machine or a system can convey meanings and identities and ideas. That's just really cool. And so I'm really excited to play through Just Cause 2, and originally I wasn't going to spend a lot of time analyzing the game. I just wanted to just play a video game. How foolish of me to have picked Just Cause 2 as to be that video game. I was sitting here thinking that it would just be kind of like a mindless romp through an island, which was the developer's intent. However, the system's intent, the machine's intent, yes, that was obviously written by a white dude. You have to understand that all of these were not written by the people who are saying these lines. I'm not sure if they're spoken by the people. I want to say that all of these accents are terrible, but I honestly wouldn't know. It's a made-up island, so it's kind of a moot point. Okay, so now our goal is we're going to fly to our next destination, I believe. Trying to like scan the mini-map, see where it is, but can't find it anywhere. Okay, so we're gonna head... That's like, what, a third of the map? And it's 8 kilometers away. Cue montage! Ah, Panau, what a beautiful city you have. Your financial district seems to be booming. Your skyscrapers pierce the heavens. And we're there. Nice thing about it saying we're 1 kilometer away is that most of that direction is up. And so we can just kind of fall into it. So it's kind of a beautiful thing, and I want to kind of pose this to viewers as well. As we're exploring the game, we're going to be finding a lot of different themes and ideas that are being perpetuated through systems that are not controlled by a designer with any kind of intent, or at least not a heavy set intent. It'll be very loosely defined. What? That's an option? You don't even have to parachute! Thanks, crazy, wacky system.
I have, or should I say had, in my employ a very clever and able hacker named...
Oh no, what did little guy do?
When he was arrested recently, he made a deal with the government so that they will, instead of killing him, deport him to Korea in exchange for information about our businesses. Certain codes and passwords. I need those codes and passwords back, of course. We were at a loss as to his whereabouts until yesterday when we struck gold. One of my men stumbled into a drunk who turned out to be the pilot assigned to take little guy to Korea. I want you to go to the airport and find this...
Well, that's a huge loose end. How and why would you find a pilot drunk? Where would you have to be to do that? Because pilots, they're oh dear, they're pretty busy people.
When you find the pilot, dispose of him and find his PDA. His flight log must be on it.
Fun thing about our Destructo Island that we're on is that we get to blow up statues, which is, you know, entirely metaphorical. But we have a lot of different ways to do that. Okay, apparently it takes more than one C4 to destroy a statue. Yeah, that one's for America because we're kind of imperialist bastards. Just kind of, just a little bit. Man, those guys are pissed that I broke their statue. Oh my gosh, they're gonna make me go all the way over to the pilot. Alright, so thank you so much for watching, and in the next episode we're gonna be breaking down a game for what the game says it's worth.